G'day again. Here is a video on what it's either called total surface area or just surface area. In my book it's always been total surface area because you're adding up all the totals, but anyway, I'll get to that. It's also known as surface area. And what we mean by that is if we have some three-dimensional shapes, so we're into three-dimensional shapes now, and we've got sort of this type of scenario. We've got a three-dimensional shape, so I'll just draw the three dimensions in so you can sort of see what's going on. We've got a three-dimensional shape like that. What we're talking about is the amount of area that's on the surface of that. So if you think of this as like a block of wood or something like that, what we're talking about is if we were to paint all the sides, all the 6 sides of this block of wood, how much paint would we use and that sort of thing. So in other words, we'd paint this side, paint that side, and then we'd paint this edge down here, that sort of thing like that. We'd paint that back edge behind there, and you can't see me doing that, so I won't do that. And then we'll paint this edge in here on that side that we can't see either, so paint that. Then we'd paint the bottom edge down there, paint all that as well, and then we finally have just this last top bit to paint like that. So it's all for all 6 surfaces of this shape. And for this little video we'll be talking about prisms. And prisms are just shapes that have been stretched out like that into a two-dimensional shape that's been stretched out into a three-dimensional shape. So if you got a square and you stretched it out into 3 dimensions, it would look like that. That's a prism. If you got a rectangle, this is a rectangular prism. You got a rectangle here and you stretch it out into 3 dimensions. If you have some weird sort of shape like this, then that'll look like that. That's still a prism. It's the same shape, and the sort of the rule, the way you can think about it, is that if you get a knife and cut any of these down, if you cut straight through there, you'll get a circular cross section no matter where you cut, sort of thing. Here you'll get a square sort of shape no matter where you cut. Here you'll get this sort of afro, lock my hair type shape if you cut that down the middle. So that's what we're talking about. So let's just go straight into some examples. There's formulas for these things, but to be honest they're a waste of time. What you just need to do is just add up all the sides. Okay, so let's just do that very thing that I just had then. Let's have a rectangular prism, and it looks something like this. Pretty pleased with that drawing up until that last bit. Yeah. So let's just say this is 5, this is 4, and this is 2 there. Okay, so 2, 4, and 5. And let's figure out what the total surface area of this particular block of wood is. And basically you're just adding up all the sides. Okay, so let's just start with at the start, and just be careful what you're doing, just to know what you've done and what you haven't done to keep count. Okay, so let's start with this face here. What's the area of this? Well, it'll be 2 times 4. So that'll be 2 times 4. Okay, that's the area of that. Now if we look at this opposite side here, that'll be exactly the same. Okay, that'll be exactly the same area as this face here because we've got a prism. So if that's actually going to be, equals 2 lots of 2 times 4. Okay, so we've got that one and the back one as well. Okay, right, so there's those 2 faces. How about this face here? What's the area of that face? Well, it'll be this distance here, which is 2, times this distance here, which is 5. So it'll be 2 lots of, I'll tell you, 2 lots, 2 times 5, because this face over here is exactly the same area as this face here. Okay, so I've got 2 lots of those. Plus, and that'll be the same, the top and bottom have the same area as well. What will that area be? It will be this length here, 5, times this length here, which is 4. So 5 times 4. Good. That's 2 times 2 times 4, that's 4 times 4, that's 16, plus 2 times 2 times 5, that's 4 times 5, that's 20, plus 2 times 5, which is 10 times 4, which is 40. And just add them all up together, that's 60, 76. No units here, so it's just units. And now what are we in here? Is this 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional? Now this is a three-dimensional shape, but the area that we're talking about, this flat sort of surface here, is just two-dimensional. We're only talking about a two-dimensional measurement here, so it's 76 units squared. It's the total of all the area on the surface. That's what we're talking about. Too easy? Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just frustrating and long-winded sort of questions, so it's nothing that's going to really baffle you. Just annoyingly long questions. I don't like it, to be honest. Let's just do one more. Let's do a doorstop type shape, and please forgive my drawing. I'm not the best drawer. Oh, it's okay, but it's not great. Okay, sort of like a doorstop. Can you sort of imagine that? I'll put in my those to sort of help you imagine it a bit better. Okay, doorstop type shape, and let's say this is 5. Let's say this is 6. I'm going to go easy numbers with these because I just couldn't bother using the calculator. You know what to do. Let's go centimeters, and let's say this length here is 10 centimeters. See, I'm picking easy numbers. You're seeing right through me, aren't you? Okay, so let's do this. All we need to do is add up all the sides. Now I'm just going to be a bit more careful this time. I'm just going to draw down all the shapes. So let's pick them. We're going to have a triangle on the front. This triangle here. You're going to have that triangle at the back. They're going to be exactly the same. It's a prism. So you're going to have lots of those triangles. Okay. Then you're going to have a rectangle on the top. That's this here. That's that top one there. And you're going to have another rectangle sort of at the back. Rectangle at the back, and then you're going to have another rectangle on the bottom. Okay. And that's what we've got there. 2 triangles, one on either end, and then one rectangle on top, one rectangle on the side, and one on the bottom. Okay. So let's just go and do each of these separately. Firstly, the area of the triangle is equal to, well, we know the height, we know the base, so the area is going to be half base times height, which is half times the base times the height, which is half times 6. Half times 6 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. So one of those triangles is 15 centimeters squared. Alright, let's have a look at our top rectangle. That's this one here. What's that rectangle? Well, it's 10 centimeters long, and we don't know that length there, and I haven't shown you Pythagoras yet. That's naughty of me. I shouldn't have done this. Let's. That's really silly that I've asked you that. I'm going to have to just sneak in a value here. It's going to be 5 squared 25 plus 36 is 25 36 is 61 root 61. I'm just going to fudge something. I'm sorry about this. I should have thought about this better. Let's just go with 8 centimeters there down that way. I didn't realise I needed that one. If you know Pythagoras, you could have done that, but I don't expect you to know Pythagoras yet. So what is the area of this just after I've fudged it? It'll be 10 times 8. 10 times 8, which is 80. Sorry about that. I'm just making these questions up and I just didn't think clearly enough about that. Let's do the rectangle at the back. And that is 10 times 5. That's 50. And last one, the one on the bottom. One on the bottom has this length here, which is 6, times this length here, which is 10. 6 times 10, which is 60. Okay, therefore your total surface area, if you add them all up, it's going to be 2 lots of the triangle, so 2 times 15 plus 80 plus 50 plus 60. So that's 30 plus 80 is 110 plus 50 is 160 plus 60 is, what did I say? 160 plus 60 is 220, and we've got centimeters squared because we're in area. Okay, and that's what we're doing. So basically, think about all the bits and pieces you're adding together. If you want to do it like this, do it like that. It'll make life easier and neater for you, by all means. These questions can get out of hand with working out, so make sure it's nice and neat. Have fun.